I want to talk about Durga this morning. I'm going to talk about Durga right now, and then I'll go over this reading, which is fire. Okay, so I looked to see did I have her in one of my oracles, and I did find her in the Pathways of the Soul oracle. One of my This is a very old old oracle of mine, and she's connected to the energy of anger. Anger. So I just want to talk a little bit about this, and let's just see who is this for. Okay, so what this book talks about is anger is often barely held at bay. It's a highly reactive state of being that exists mainly from the feeling of not being heard or understood. It can flash forth in an instant, but make no mistake, anger spreads pervasive roots. It can govern one's total reality. And it's interesting as I read that, because I remember when I used to think I wasn't angry. And then I figured out, oh, I have a lot of rage. Me and Sekhmet, we were closely tied at one point. So it says, when in the anger state, it is imperative to acknowledge the need to access and resolve all the contributing issues. That's very much easier said than done. The original issues have long since become mass and externally activated experiences. And it's like the thing that we find ourselves mad about today is, am I really mad about that? Or is it something, is it, what do you call it? Gestalt? It's, it's like there's a cord. Oh my God. I got to tell y'all something. I'm going to finish. Slow down, Tyra. There's a cord from this moment of anger that leads back to another moment, the original moment of the anger. And that is what we really want to get to the root of when we're talking about this kind of anger. I think that women are actually very suppressed when it comes to anger, and it's not an emotion that we're comfortable with, but it's one that we need to learn to become comfortable with, because it's important for us to get healthy, remain healthy, however you want to look at it. But when I talked about that cord, it made me remember I had pulled this card right here, etheric cords. So I wonder if Durga, this energy of Durga coming to me is all about connecting to these etheric cords that are connected to anger for some of us. I'm just going to go on ahead and stop and read this particular card, and then I'll go back to talking about anger. So, oh, this is Erzulie Dantor. Okay. What does she have to say to us this week? So it says Erzulie Dantor fought elbow to elbow with her people during the Haitian Revolution to protect mothers and children. This is interesting. Wow. She represents the healing of the dark mother. And her guidance is, if it isn't wholehearted love, release it. Remember your worth. That just did something to me. Okay. And this is the wisdom. The energy cores binding you and someone you no longer wish to be attached to are strong. You must be willing to let go. I'm going to repeat that. You must be willing to let go. And what we have to remember is, when we have these long cords, these longest thoughts connected to something in the past that happened, essentially they become a little bit of our comfort zone, because that's part of the reason, that's part of the way we keep ourselves protected, even though it might be unconscious, right, that we're doing this. And so we get to a point where it's like, no, I'm just not going to let go. I'll never forgive them, right? Or I got to stay this way because this is how I stay alert and keep myself safe. So we have to be willing to let go of these cords, right? Close your eyes. Ooh, okay, do that if you can. See divine swords of God, Goddess's love and light separating you and dissolving the cords between you and whoever the other person or situation is. You are both whole and healed. Just as you shower to cleanse physical grime, there's also grime in the form of energy cords, also called karmic ribbons, emotional cords, or etheric cords. Spiritual maintenance is required. So I'm wondering if Durga is trying to help us to see we need to cut some cords, and they're specifically related to anger. What does that mean to you all? I would love to hear. What are you getting from that? That is interesting to me. But maybe it's just me because I'm the one that's getting the message. But I'll share what's coming to me because it's meaningful. Okay, so let's go back to talking about anger. And so I do want to just say this is called Pathways, the Pathways Oracle, because it's about the pathway into the soul and out of the soul. It's like a labyrinth, right? And so this anger is one of the pathways out. It's not that we shouldn't be angry. It's more, I think it's a lot of us is dealing with suppressed anger, but it's like anger is representing something that needs to be released and let go of. And maybe we're going to be in touch with that this week. I mean, we just had the full moon in Cancer with Mars being there. So interesting again. So it says the underlying reality actually is grief. Hidden here are the slights and hurts that have accumulated over a lifetime. All right. Y'all hear that? Anger is the barrier preventing any understanding or genuine comprehension of self. There is a great unconscious concern related to getting past the anger. Anger is the sentinel guarding the fragility related to the hidden grief and pain. This state generally comes from experiences early in life, from not having your feelings even considered as viable. And this happened again and again and again. How many of us were told, keep crying and I'm gonna give you something to cry about? Ooh, that just did something to me. I'm grateful my mama didn't say that to me. I'm so grateful. But I know I heard it so much. I don't know where I heard it. It's just a part of our consciousness. So whew. One of the things with this Cancer full moon that we just experienced as stars is you really need to honor your emotions. You need to honor them. To be human is to be emotional. It's just how it is. And I say astrology often shows us what's just natural and normal. If we weren't supposed to be emotional, we wouldn't have the moon in astrology and going through all those different signs, right? Going through all those different emotions or types of emotional expressions. Um, and we need it's like being of service to yourself. One of the best ways you can take care of yourself is just to be like, well, today is a bad day. I'm not happy. And I would have cried. Or if you feel angry, it's like I'm mad. I don't like this. And to honor that, okay? It may take serious effort to agree to confront one's own attitudes and behaviors around this anger. It becomes imperative to agree to back down from the anger and instead feel the grief hidden within. Now, that's a good one. I haven't touched on the grief. So, in neurolinguistic programming, one of the first emotion there's this process I take people through where it's all about releasing stagnant and stuck emotion. And do you know the very first emotion that we release is anger? And we are taught you have to do two back to back. You can give a person a break after that second one, but two back to back, you don't stop. They must be done together because the second one, sadness. Sadness is always under that anger. And we're talking about something that's been hanging around for a while. Sometimes when we feel angry in the moment, it's just in the moment. All right. So I don't want us to always feel like we got to psychoanalyze ourselves. It's when we know something is there. Right. So it's so important for us to really connect with the grief and to, I just think that that's really important. I remember during 2020, we talked about a collective grief. I don't think we healed that. And I think we're working on that right now. Okay. Hmm. The hidden reality is based on the lack of honoring one's feelings, which involves a lack of regard for the truth contained in these feelings. Soon, even you have no regard for what you may feel or want and know about yourself. Instead, you mistrust every experience, considering the people and events in your life a continual string of abuseful, hostile experiences. Your main mantra is some version of nobody understands me. Now, I've said that. The continual search for the rescuer usually goes unrewarded. It's one of the reasons why I say it's a hard truth that I have come to. Nobody's going to come save you, Tyra. You just got to make some decisions about your life and what you're going to do. You may find yourself stuffing in food to put a soft internal lid on your anger. You're so invested in anger and betrayal, it's hard to ever believe you'll have the life you want. And truly, do you even know what that life might be? So, this is why I chose this card because Durga is one of the energies connected with how do you work through this anger? And Durga, according to this oracle, it represents, and her name is spelled Durga, power over negativity. Durga, the warrior goddess, is depicted as a beautiful woman with 10 arms that bear divine weapons to protect all that is sacred, including you. She has been praised as a guardian in Hindu mythology. So I just want to encourage us all to work with this energy of Durga to help us. It's like in Ifa, we have the warriors. We have Eshu, Ogun, Ochozi, Osun. And I always say the warriors, you call on them to protect you. But oftentimes, the enemy we most need to slay is the enemy within. I used to hear Iyanla say, the enemy is the inner me, right? Yes, there are times when we need to be protective of ourselves, and I'm calling in the energy of Durga to support us, all of us, at this time of massive transformation, to protect the most vulnerable during this time of massive transformation in the world. We call in the energy of Durga. That was another reason I wanted to bring Durga in, because I'm like, we need to be calling in these energies of the goddess now.